Hi, I'm Christy McDonald, and here's what's coming up on this Christmas Eve One Detroit. It's all about traditions we may be missing with family this year. So we'll take you to a Polish Wigilia, a special Christmas Eve meal, and then see the art of pounding rice to celebrate the new year with the Japanese American Citizens League. Then we'll round it out with a celebration of the skies and the beauty captured over the Great Lakes. It's all coming up on One Detroit.
From Delta Faucets to Behr Paint, Masco Corporation is proud to deliver products that enhance the way consumers all over the world experience and enjoy their living spaces. Masco, serving Michigan communities since 1929.
Support for this program provided by the Cynthia and Etzel Ford Fund for Journalism at Detroit Public TV.
The Kresge Foundation, Community Foundation for Southeast Michigan.
The DTE Foundation is a proud sponsor of Detroit Public TV, among the state's largest foundations committed to Michigan-focused giving. We support organizations that are doing exceptional work in our state. Visit dtefoundation.com to learn more.
Business Leaders for Michigan, dedicated to making Michigan a top 10 state for jobs, personal income, and a healthy economy. Nissan Foundation, Ally, and viewers like you.
Hey, One Detroit, I'm Christy McDonald. Welcome to the show and welcome to my house on Christmas Eve. And it's my dog, Tate. It's been a heck of a year. And I know with COVID cases, a lot of us won't be with the usual crowds of family and friends this year. It's hard. So we're going to take this show and bring you some holiday traditions that will keep us going until next year when we can be together again. Coming up, the Christmas Eve celebration in Polish homes across the area. We're guests at a Wigilia just ahead. Then the art of pounding rice for the new year. It's a Mochitsuki celebration with the Japanese American Citizens League. And then we'll celebrate the skies over the Great Lakes with the beautiful photography of the Northern Lights. But we're starting off with a Christmas Eve tradition. There is a large Polish community here in Southeast Michigan. You think about the Polish churches and the restaurants in Hamtramck. So we got an invitation last year to a Wigilia, a Polish Christmas Eve dinner with the Wayne State University Polish Club to experience their celebration and learn a little bit along the way. A December weekend in Hamtramck, the Polish Village Cafe, where there's a Wigilia celebration about to begin.
Okay, we'll figure it out.
Alina Klin hosts the gathering.
Vigilia, the word comes from the Latin, which means to watch. So it's waiting for, watching out, waiting for Christ to be born, which we celebrate, of course, on Christmas Day.
Klin came from Poland 30 years ago. Now she teaches Polish history and culture at Wayne State University.
It is the most traditional, the most celebrated of all Polish holidays.
While Christmas Day is big in Polish homes, Wigilia is bigger, held on Christmas Eve.
Wigilia is one of the most important Polish traditions that we have, and so I found it very important to be here today to support Wayne State and to promote and keep these traditions alive.
Jillian Demeter studies Polish at Wayne State.
I thought it would be fun, so I invited my family as well.
This is my sister. I'm second generation Polish. I grew up knowing bits and pieces, but studying the language and getting a degree in that language has given me so much more, and I've been able to now reconnect with my cousins who live in Poland, my family of Polish roots, so it's exciting to be able to be a part of that.
On Christmas Eve, we want to be with our families and friends, and we also want to be in our best behavior to ensure that the next year will bring us health and prosperity.
In Poland, the run-up to Wigilia means fasting, but not too much.
They try to eat very lightly, a little bit throughout the day, maybe 2 little meals, and then they would sit down to this very sumptuous, however meatless dinner. And this meatlessness of this dinner is because it's still fast before Christmas. It's not Christmas yet.
Some might think Hamtramck, as far as local Polish history goes. Many Poles came to work at the Chrysler assembly plant, the massive Dodge main complex that closed back in 1980. But the Polish story in Detroit starts even before that.
Since Polish women at the beginning of the 20th century, a lot of them worked in cigar industry, and not many people know that before Detroit had that automotive industry, which is Detroit so famous of. cigar industry, which Detroit was famous of.
Poles came not just to Hamtramck and the east side. They established parishes on the west side along Michigan Avenue. Lori Gomulka-Palazzolo documents the Polish-American experience there.
With me, my interest really peaked when my dad passed away. My dad was a Polish-American musician. He was quite famous in the Detroit area. His name was Ted Gomulka. He was a trumpeter.
Polish-American jazz musicians created polka music, popular in Detroit. Ted Gomulka appeared regularly on radio and television. He was a Decca Records recording star.
He had his own polka band for many, many years. And when he passed away in 1998, he had this sort of sense, this feeling that nobody was going to care, nobody was going to remember anything that he had accomplished in his life.
Preserving history can be a challenge. In the century past, Polish immigrants weren't treated so well, in part because many did not speak English.
They were also Catholics. That was the time when Catholics were not really looked at very favorably.
Many also despised and ridiculed Polish Catholics, fearing their allegiance was to the Pope and not to their new country.
We really didn't celebrate Wigilia when I was growing up. When I was very little, we lived in the attic of my grandfather's house, not far from here. I grew up in a Polish-speaking household, and I'm now fairly fluent in Polish, but I was forbidden to speak Polish because my father's family back in the 50s didn't want anyone to know that we were Polish.
Back in the kitchen, Marta Biroka and Zacha Kuras coordinate the delivery of the delicacies.
We don't microwave anything. We don't even have a microwave. No, it's just gotta be freshly baked or fried. Traditional Wigilia is 12 dishes. 12 is the limit. You can't have any more. You're not able to eat anymore.
First up, there's opłatki. That's plural for opłatek, a thin rectangular wafer.
My most favorite tradition is the opłatek, where you share the Christmas wafer before the meal, and you go around the room with a wafer, you break off a piece of theirs, they break a piece of yours, and you reconcile any differences you may have had throughout that year and wish peace and happiness and all the prosperity for the new year to come, so everyone starts on a fresh slate.
Polish club.
While the traditional Wigilia meal doesn't have meat, fish is included, starting with śledzia, pickled herring in a cream sauce.
This śledzia reminds us also of the fact that it is still fast. It's not Christmas yet.
Another Wigilia requirement, soup. Here it's borscht, made from beets. Then there's pierogi, sweet and savory filled dumplings.
We host our Wigilia at our house every year, and yes, we have gluten-free pierogi, and everybody loves them. Nobody knows the difference.
Here, the Bemis family tells their own Wigilia pierogi story. Alicia's son, Wayne State student Charles, he can't eat gluten.
We got to the point where when he was diagnosed at the age of 12, he said, "Oh my gosh, Mom, I'm never going to have pierogi again." He said, "Find a way to make them gluten-free."
Alicia did. Now the Bemises run a gluten-free pierogi factory in St. Clair Shores. Their pierogies are available in stores across southeastern Michigan.
This is our busiest time of the year.
Vigilia's main course includes potatoes, sauerkraut, and more fish. In Poland, it might be a carp fillet, but here, cod is served.
For dessert, we'll have for sure poppy seed roll, because poppy seed is one of these magical components in Wigilia, which goes way back to assure prosperity. Next year, you need to eat some poppy seeds at Wigilia.
This Wigilia event has been going on for decades, and now Wayne State alum Jessica Wendt sees more interest in the old traditions thanks to new technology.
We have social media. So social media helps to really kind of promote and educate friends, spark interest and questions, and then people really kind of are reaching back to the roots of where they came from.
Ah, such good food. You know, after Christmas, we bring in the new year, and there is a Japanese New Year tradition with mochi. It's the art of pounding rice into a gooey paste and mold it into round cakes. You eat them for good luck. 2 years ago, the Japanese American Citizens League held their second annual Mochitsuki holiday party. They invited us to celebrate.
And then we'll be making another round of mochi, so just pace yourself, okay?
A community center in Madison Heights. This is a Japanese Mochitsuki New Year's celebration, Detroit style.
Put on some gloves and roll.
Members of the Japanese American Citizens League are making and eating mochi made from a gooey rice paste.
We created a lot of different ways to have it. We have it, the way I grew up eating it was with shoyu and sugar.
Shoyu, that's soy sauce.
Fried, and I have a frying pan actually, so if you want to fry some. We have hinako, the soybean flour with sugar and a little salt, and you roll it in there.
One thing I remember is because it stretches if you pull it, and I think it has something to do with longevity of your life. But my memory is kind of fuzzy, so.
Mochitsuki goes back 1,000 years. In Japan, the celebration can go all day. The rice cakes take center stage to music and activities for the kids.
The rice harvest is in the fall, right? And then the celebration of New Year's is a big deal, so I think that's kind of related to it too.
Is it good?
Very good. I'm very fond of mochi.
Like lutefisk in Sweden or the fruitcakes of the Western world, mochi returns every holiday season. Some love it, some don't.
Can you make this size of mochi? Oh yeah,
Okay.
here, grab that.
But with mochi, it's not just the texture, but the danger. A choking hazard if you're not careful.
Eat it, chew it good. Big pipe, chew it good. Oh, chew it good. Wow. I've never had it like this before. Oh, why don't you have it in the soup?
Well, this is ozoni. This is the New Year's soup. And it has it has carrots and tofu and fish cake and lotus root.
The mochi sits in the bowl like a matzo ball. This is just the second year the Citizens League has held Mochitsuki in Detroit, even though the group has been here more than 70 years.
And it started out as a support group of obviously Japanese Americans, and it turned into more of a civil rights focused organization, and we have chapters everywhere, including obviously here in Detroit. The Detroit chapter started when a lot of people who came out of camp relocated to Detroit, and at its peak, I understand there were about 400 members.
This is a wonderful gift basket.
Mary Kamidoy was born in California, held in an internment camp in Arkansas during World War II. She's long retired from Ford Motor Company, but remembers Mochitsuki as a child.
All the time that we were making mochi, the kids just played around with it. Our parents made it every year and had friends come over. And so, and I'm one of these, I didn't eat it, I didn't like it. So I crabbed every time we were molding the thing. Ma, I don't even eat the thing. Why do I have to come home and do this? She said, Mary, just keep molding it.
Molding mochi, that's the easy part. You need people to pound the rice, swinging a big mallet over and over again.
For you to pound, that's a job. It's like my dad used to say, if you don't pound right, you will hurt your back. And then the one that had to turn it, if you don't time it right, the mallet will come down on your hand or your head.
Technology to the rescue, the mochi-making machine. Mary's brother-in-law found one in Los Angeles.
He brought it home, and my sister said, come on over, you got to see this machine, Mary. It's really funny.
This one just works automatically. It steams, and when it's ready, the pounding starts. The other two, you have to push the button.
I've always been saying, I would say it to my mom, why is it Japan hasn't made a machine so that the mochi comes out in like this, out of it, and it cuts off at a certain, Mary, then there'd be no fun to this. Because see, these machines, the way they're cutting it, it's a mess.
Well, you like to eat it now, though, huh?
Not really. I will eat one or two, but that's it. Not because I like it so well. I just eat it because it's just custom.
What are you going to do with that, buddy?
After a while, when you don't have it, you sort of miss it.
And finally, we'll move away from cultural celebrations to celebrating the beautiful skies over the Great Lakes. This story comes from Great Lakes Now, and it's a look at the art of capturing the nightly view above the lakes, from the Milky Way to the Northern Lights.
My photography and cinematography is Lake Superior region based, inspired, and I've been at this for about 20 years.
Shawn Malone is a photographer in Marquette, Michigan, and she's been photographing the night sky since 1998.
When I started out photography, just regular landscape photography, I was using film cameras, negative film or slide film. You would have to wait until you get the film back to see what you got. So when I got the film back, it was like, wow, I was just amazed. And then like a once in 11 year event happened in 2004. It was an aurora that was in every direction, every color. And I shot 2 whole rolls of slide film that night.
And when digital cameras became capable of capturing low-light scenes, Shawn began shooting night sky time lapses, often featuring the Northern Lights.
And then I just really started learning all about space weather data and that kind of thing in order to try to put myself in the right position at the right time in order to be able to capture the aurora. You really have to scout out your own undiscovered locations where you are not going to have like a car light ruin your shot, you know, and if you plan a 3-hour shot for a time lapse, that's something that can be an issue. Here in Marquette County, where I'm at, we have a tremendous amount of public access to Lake Superior. And that allows people a chance to get to a dark sky location facing north over Lake Superior. That provides me just geographically the ability to look directly over Lake Superior and see a completely dark night sky facing north, directly north. And then I have a field of view that is 180 degrees to the east and west that has no obstruction. So that's half of the battle in seeing the aurora. And then number 2 is getting rid of the obstructions and then being north enough in order to be able to catch the display. So this is one of the best places in the lower 48 to see the aurora.
Nick Lake is Adler Planetarium's manager of theater experience and presentation. He's been introducing people to the wonders of the night sky since 2004 in the planetarium's domed theaters. The real night sky can be less reliable, especially as you get further south.
The northern lights are visible occasionally from sort of the Great Lakes latitudes. I've seen them several times from just about halfway up the midpoint of the lower peninsula of Michigan, so just north of Muskegon. With nighttime landscape photography, you can allow the lens to drink in more and more light and add in this sort of canvas of light on the picture. And it really, it will add more than you can see with the naked eye, which some people say, well, it's, you know, that's not really what it looks like, but it is in fact real. It's what is actually up there in the sky.
One obstacle in seeing or photographing the night sky is light pollution.
Keep in mind that your night sky cameras now are much more sensitive than your eyes, so they're really going to pick up any kind of light pollution that's around. If you're in Detroit, you just need to get out of Detroit because it's just going to be too bright and you won't be impacted by cities further north where you really have a shot at looking at a nice dark sky. Same with Chicago, Milwaukee.
Another source of troublesome light, the moon. If it's too bright, it can obscure other celestial bodies.
When you get past the quarter moon, the half moon, then you start to lose the darkness of the sky. So you do have to pay attention to that.
Satellites are yet another concern. They've been orbiting above for decades, but they're becoming more numerous.
Last February, I'm sure you've heard of SpaceX. They started launching their Starlink satellite constellation. The goal was to do every 2 weeks have a launch of 60 satellites to eventually have thousands and thousands of satellites into this mega constellation that is encircling Earth. And I made it a point to follow the data on the satellite launches and try to track these things and document it. And it really gives a good look at how intrusive these satellite trains are to the night sky. And the astronomers are just going nuts about it. So yes, it's very difficult to do a time lapse now of, let's say, a 2 or 3 hour shot with the Milky Way going through the frame, with just not being able to watch it because it's so jarring from all the satellites flying through the scene. And it's very disturbing to the point that we don't even know if we can continue with the night sky stuff because it's just going to be so busy with these trains of satellites.
In early 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic meant Nick Lake had to change the way he talked to the public about the night sky.
When Adler closed to the public in middle of March, I was suddenly thrust into a place where I didn't have domed theaters to present content, and I was itching for a way to continue to communicate with the public about the wonders of the sky, what they could see, and to inspire them to get out there and look up for themselves.
Nick now hosts the Planetarium's video series, Skywatch Weekly.
Hey Stargazers, welcome back. Skywatch Weekly is a 5 to 10 minute weekly video series that we started at the middle part of April. Most of what we talk about is really visible from the Northern Hemisphere, specifically the mid-northern latitudes, so the entire Great Lakes region. We're trying to keep it accessible to all audiences. There really is no substitute for being out and seeing these things for yourself in the sky. We hope to inspire people to do that, kind of give examples of what you might see if you know where to look and when to look, kind of bringing the wonders of space to you, and then helping you realize that it's right outside your front door. You can go out there and see a lot of it for yourself. We really encourage people to start with the moon. It's sort of the easiest, the most obvious thing to see up there. So I think our moon, as big and as bright as it is, it really allows the imagination to work and hopefully inspires people to get out there and see more.
We can really get caught up in the screens of phones and computers. So it's really nice to just unplug, calm down, and just take a walk or just observe what nature has to offer. I think it's really important for people to not forget that.
I think through the time of COVID, which we're still in and we'll be in for a while, it's been important to find ways where we can still be united and not just separated and socially distanced. And the sky is a great way to do that, and especially the moon. If the moon is full, it's full for everyone. Everyone that night from a dark sky on planet Earth will see a full moon in whatever phase it might happen to be. So I think it does lend a sense of unity, a sense of the same sky that we're looking up at.
And for more Great Lakes Now stories, just head to onedetroitpbs.org. I hope you have a wonderful holiday and enjoy the gift of presents, what we have right in front of us today. We will be back in the new year with all new shows, along with Nolan Finley and Stephen Henderson. But for all of us at One Detroit, Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next week.
You can find more at onedetroitpbs.org or subscribe to our social media channels and sign up for our One Detroit newsletter.
From Delta Faucets to Behr Paint, Masco Corporation is proud to deliver products that enhance the way consumers all over the world experience and enjoy their living spaces. Masco, serving Michigan communities since 1929.
Support for this program provided by the Cynthia and Etzel Ford Fund for Journalism at Detroit Public TV, the Kresge Foundation, Community Foundation for Southeast Michigan.
The DTE Foundation is a proud sponsor of Detroit Public TV, among the state's largest foundations committed to Michigan-focused giving. We support organizations that are doing exceptional work in our state. Visit dtefoundation.com to learn more.
Business Leaders for Michigan, dedicated to making Michigan a top 10 state for jobs, personal income, and a healthy economy. Nissan Foundation, Ally, and viewers like you.